The world's biggest election is finally over, and after 2 months of high drama and high decibel campaign, we're waiting for result day. Good evening and welcome to WION Special Broadcast India Votes. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. Results will be in about 4 days from now, and today we'll bring you the exit poll.
Good evening, I'm Karthikeya Sharma. We are here to decode the numbers and the trends. Will Narendra Modi be the Prime Minister again? Will the opposition trump him? Will an alliance hold the key? Tonight, we'll discuss with our esteemed panel of guests.
So let me introduce you to the guests. First up on my right, starting with Andrew Whitehead, writer and senior journalist. We have Makarand Paranjpe, director of the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies in Shimla. Jasper Reed is also with us. He's a political analyst. And we have Arun Anand, who's a senior journalist. On our left, we start with Walter Anderson, academician, former official in the US State Department. We have Lord Meghnad Desai, author and professor emeritus at the London School of Economics. R.K. Upadhyay, senior journalist. And we have François Gauthier, who's also a political writer and commentator. Good evening and welcome to all of you. And the big question that everyone's asking and no one's answering at this point is, of course, who is going to win this election? So let me put you all in a spot and start with that one. Who is winning? What do you think the numbers will say today?
Well, you are putting me in the spot, but as you say, nobody's going to answer that one straight on. I've always thought Narendra Modi is in pole position. Congress began this election year with one huge advantage. They had momentum because of their success in state elections at the end of last year. I think they've squandered that advantage. They haven't managed to have the focus on the BJP's record on the economy, on jobs, on rural distress, and we've been reminded how wonderfully effective Amit Shah and Narendra Modi are on the campaign trail. But it's been a bad-tempered campaign, a lot of name-calling, almost as much at the national level about the past, about 1984, 1948, the Bengali Renaissance, rather than the tasks that a new government would face.
But you've not given me a number.
If you want a number, and you're forcing me, and you promise you'll wipe the tape if it's wrong, I would say BJP 223 seats, so round about 60 down. I sat down last night and worked it out state by state. It's intuition more than anything else, but that's the sort of scale of result that I would expect.
Professor Paranjpe, do you have a figure?
My figure is BJP 260, 265, and I certainly think Narendra Modi is winning. I'm not saying BJP is winning. BJP is also winning, but it's very clearly Narendra Modi's triumph that we're going to witness.
But do you think that as Mr. Whitehead was saying, that he thinks that Modi will be closer to the mark? But will this election restore bipolarity in our electoral system, which Advani spoke in 2009 after losing the elections, or will this lead to continuation of BJP as the hegemonic party, the new Congress party?
I think it will be a tripolarity that we'll see, because the Congress hasn't stepped up, to perform the role of the principal, if not principled, opposition party. So I think BJP will be way ahead of the other two configurations, political configurations.
Jasper, what's your take on it?
265. They've got superior electioneering machinery. That's very, very clear. I agree with Andrew that actually the momentum on Congress has stalled, but I think we can expect to see a much better showing, as we need to see, frankly, for healthy democracy, from Raul and of course from all the other regional parties. So I would expect a good outing for the BJP, but not home and dry.
Do you have a figure, Arun?
I think I won't be surprised if BJP crosses 300.
300?
Yeah. I think the people of this country are not in a mood to give fragmented mandate. So they are going to give a sweeping mandate, and also what Mr. Whitehead was saying, that I think the momentum which was created after the 3 assembly elections, it was disrupted by Balakot, which proved to be a defining movement. Also, the problem is that Congress, which was one of the major opposition parties, it is planning to win by default.
Okay. We are also joined by BJP spokesperson Shaina NC from Mumbai. Shaina, welcome on our show. And what do you think will be the strength of BJP in the new Lok Sabha?
Well, in all honesty, I think the people of this country are way too intelligent. They don't want fragmented, uncertainties. They want stability, and in view of that, the stability comes with a strong leader. And Prime Minister Modi has delivered on ground. The fact that we've reached 22 crore homes and households through our Labharti schemes. You have had 6.5 crore households that have directly benefited through Ujjwala. It's important for you to also understand that whether it's Jandan schemes, insurance schemes, pension schemes, Mudra banking that has benefited 70% women of this country, I think all of this is a mandate for a formula of repeating the government at the center, as will happen in the states too. It is imperative for us at this juncture to also analyze what are the options, what is the narrative, because the options of the opposition have only been to call Prime Minister Modi a chor, unpad, gawar, neech, compare him to Aurangzeb, and this kind of low repartee really serves no purpose, because there is no vision plan, there is no idea of what they want to do for the next 5 years, and we have announced from time to time how we have implemented policies and how they should continue in the next 5 years for continuity and a better economy and a strong government.
But Shaina, I'm very surprised you're speaking about the manifesto of Bharatiya Janata Party. But if we look at the electoral campaign of Bharatiya Janata Party, it was more about national security, it was more about the threats from Pakistan, it was more about the fears which an average Indian should feel so that it votes for Bharatiya Janata Party. If you look at the terrain of the discourse, it's less about economy, it was less about jobs and more about what can happen to country in absence of the Prime Minister Modi.
No, I disagree. You take a case and study of just West Bengal. The lawlessness that we have seen there, the jungle raj that we have seen there is frightening. In a democracy, if you have two leaders of your party being murdered, a party president not being allowed to campaign, you see at the polls, you see bogus voters, you see rigging, you see all kinds of misuse of administrative power. That is a state of anarchy, and that has frightened the people of this country. I'm telling you that the good governance model by Prime Minister Modi and the NDA, be it on national security, be it on fighting terror, the fact that you've not had a single communal violence in terms of a riot for 5 years in itself is a great victory in a large nation as ours, as complicated as ours. So I would think that in the days to come, people want a continuity, they want stability and certainty. And that can only come through strong leadership and somebody who has a policy which is positive rather than going into just a narrative of who said what, focusing on who did what. And at this juncture, let me tell you, we are not interested in being voted to power, in quotes. We are interested in serving the people of this country. And in service to the people of this nation is a man who has given up his family, his life, and has consistently, without a day of holiday, worked tirelessly for the people of India with a policy of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas.
Awesome. We wish you all the best. The campaign is over, though. I want to ask Walter Anderson, what is your calculation? Who do you think is winning this?
I think the BJP, this is a guess, is 230 seats. I don't think it's going to, with its partners, will get a majority, but I think it will be close to a majority. Now, there's been, that's an improvement from a year ago in terms of both the Prime Minister and the BJP. So what's happened? I think there are three advantages the BJP has that has upped its potential in the polls, what I call the 3 M's of Indian politics. It's machinery, it's money, and of course it's Modi. In machinery, the BJP under Amit Shah has developed an extraordinarily effective machinery with, poll-level workers who, have worked out a very elaborate system of getting out the vote, and then they have the RSS cadre as well, who have helped them get out the vote. And that's incredible. I mean, the RSS cadre, you're talking about 3-4 million people right there, not counting, the people that Amit Shah has organized. Money. BJP has far more money than anybody else. They may have 90% of the sums of money that the various parties have. Now, money can get a lot for you. You just go around the city, look at where the hoardings are. Who are they? It's Modi everywhere. Everywhere. I have yet to see one, to be quite frank.
If campaigns won you elections, 2004 would have gone the BJP's way.
Probably. It probably might have, yes. Because money can get you a lot of things, both before the election and after the election. We may hear about that after the election, because what do you do to tempt politicians to come over to you? Yeah. We all know that money is a factor.
Right.
And the BJP has almost unlimited amounts of money to do. And then, of course, there's Modi himself. You know, the BJP and Modi himself have been able to, in many ways, turn this into a presidential campaign. It's focused on the Prime Minister, what he can and can't do. Even negative news is, in a sense, positive, because it focuses on the Prime Minister,
right,
which I think is exactly what they want to do.
There was another M that prevailed, at least in the discourse. That was Mamata Banerjee, and then there was a Mayawati. So there are more M's in the equation here. I want to ask Lord Desai what his numbers are.
My numbers are very similar as Walter Anderson's, but they have been the same for about 6 months. 230 plus minus 10.
230 plus minus 10.
But I will say one thing, not only will BJP be the largest single party, but Congress will get less than half the seats of BJP.
Okay.
Okay. Again, as Walter Anderson said...
But that still puts Congress party in triple digits.
Sorry?
That still puts Congress party in triple digits. Less than half.
No. When I say less than half, it could be 70. You know, it's not as less as 1/3. Let me put it this way. I wish it was as less as 1/3. But I think they may just get into 70-80 range. So I'm being cautious on that. But, you know, the opposition had decided to begin with that it was a Modi Hatao election. And somebody said, okay, if I am the subject, let the election be on Modi. And that, you know, he is a master communicator. Look at him, what is he doing now? Without saying a word, he's annoyed everybody by just going to Kedarnath and saying, here I am, look at me, I'm not talking politics, I'm just worshipping God. You know, to go to a temple is also an art, which Rahul Gandhi hasn't yet learned. And Narendra Modi is a past master, because he's sincere in going to a temple.
How do we know? He carries cameras with him.
Sorry?
He has cameras following him.
Modi will have cameras following him no matter where he goes. You know, whether he chooses it or not chooses it. But to be able to take that risk, last 2 days of the campaign, I'm going off to a temple. Wow. You know, what the communication in India? This is an Indian
you sound
voting
impressed.
public. They love it.
Right. We've gathered here to discuss exit polls, but we'll also question the credibility of exit polls and what their record has been like. But I think we still have 2 more guests to go, and I have to ask you what your predictions are for this result.
Well, I'll come to the numbers later. First, I would like to say in 2014, you know, Mr. Narendra Modi was an outsider. He was an outsider fighting against the establishment, you know, the established parties. So, but this time, he's a prime minister with 5 years of record. That's a big difference. That's a big difference, and people know what he's capable of, or what kind of reactions he get across the country. So, and the main, I think, the focus of this election is Modi versus the rest. He's made it Modi versus the rest, because the others have not been able to come up with a prime ministerial candidate. I think that's a big, minus point for the other parties, because nobody is ready to accept Rahul Gandhi as the prime ministerial candidate. And, the third front people are still, working out as to who should be, if at all they get the numbers. So even after 23rd, in case they have there is a hung parliament, they're going to, I think, sit and maybe for weeks together, they'll, fight as to who should be the prime minister. So that has been the difference. Secondly, I think, in this election, Modi has gone beyond his record, what the development record is. If you look at even the development record, I think his performance has been much, much better than what the previous UPA government did for 2 terms. So in 5 years, I'll just pick on 2 of his pet projects. One is Swachh Bharat, another is Mudra. In Swachh Bharat, he reached out to the commonest people. I think the 70% of the people who have no access to any kind of basic facilities, he reached out to them and he has provided toilets. Now it's about 85% of the country is covered with toilets. I think that's a big plus. And when it comes to Mudra, that is the kind of a project where people who didn't have any kind of a security were able to get the funds. About 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs kind of funds has been provided for entrepreneurs, and these are the two big things. But he went beyond this, and I think he raised this issue of national security.
We'll come to all of that. I want the numbers. I want to go through it one by one.
Well, I think if you want me to come out with a number, I will say the BJP will get around 270.
Okay.
Not NDA, BJP.
BJP alone, yeah. Yes.
François?
So I'm very confused about these elections, actually. Very confused.
That's a good place to start.
I don't know what to think. But because on the one hand, there is a Modi wave, there is no doubt. Mr. Modi is very popular.
There's a Modi wave,
all across. But on the other hand, I keep shuttling between Delhi and Pune and Pondicherry. There is discontent on the ground. I have met people who are discontent because of the GST, because of demonetization, because of the banking system, which has become very rigid and difficult today. So there's a contradiction between the Modi wave and some discontent on the ground. Yeah. And also I feel that Mr. Modi has been functioning in a system that was set up by decades of Congress rule. And that rule is very centralized, and Mr. Modi fell into that trap, which is a very centralized one-man show where everything is decided by one person sitting in Delhi, far away from the south and the center. So there is, I said 240 to 250, but I may be completely wrong. The BJP alone will make 240 to 250.
Right. Okay, so we're discussing exit polls. All said and done, exit polls continue to remain a tricky business, as we've heard from our panelists as well. No one wants to take a position, and rightly so. Despite sample surveys growing in size with every passing election, at the end of the day, it's a matter of hit and miss. Now, it's not as if exit polls have never got it right or never got the trend right, but it's been rare that they got the estimate of victory or loss very correctly, the exact number. Many experts believe that this is because of the complex nature of voter loyalties. People can miss the nuance resulting from caste, class, region, language, cultural predilections. And let's take a look at some of the exit polls of the previous Lok Sabha and Assembly elections.
Now, every exit poll in 2004 gave a clear victory to NDA. Now, Outlook, MDRA, gave NDA 284, UPA 164. Now, if we look at the other polls, for example, the Sahara gave NDA 270 seats and UPA 176, and others 97. The Star C voter gave NDA 269, UPA 180, and others 92 seats, and Aaj Tak ORG gave NDA 248, UPA 190, and others 105 seats. However, the actual result was very different. UPA ended up with a tally of 218 seats, and the NDA got just 181 seats, while the others got 132 seats. The UPA, led by the Congress, went on to form the government. The surveys just couldn't predict the change on the ground, which was essentially against Vajpayee-led government. The only thing which the surveys got right was the proportion of seats backed by others in the Lok Sabha.
Let's also take a look at the 2009 Lok Sabha election result. This time the surveys got the drift of the win, but they still got the estimates wrong. Star News Nielsen giving the UPA 199, NDA 197, the others 136 seats. Times Now gave the UPA 198, the NDA 183, and others 162. Headlines Today gave the UPA 191 seats, the NDA got 180 in that survey, the others got 172. And NDTV gave UPA 216, the NDA 177, and others 150. The final results looked like this. The UPA got a total of 262 seats. The NDA got 159. The others were reduced to merely 79 seats. Let's also take a look at the watershed election of 2014. The CNN-IBN survey gave the NDA 276, UPA 97, others 170. News 24 Chanakya, NDA 340, UPA 70, others 133. C Voter India TV, NDA 289, the UPA got 101 and others got 153. The final result had the NDA getting a whopping 336 seats. The BJP alone got 282 seats, a clear majority there. The Congress party was reduced to 44 seats, its worst defeat ever in Indian elections. The UPA as a whole got only 60 seats. So in 2014 exit polls, got the trend right. It was a wave election. Everyone could tell that Modi was winning, but nobody could get the number right. By what margin was he going to win this election? And this election is a waveless election. There is no clear issue. The agenda is everything and anything. You have new equations in the mix. You have a Gathbandhan in UP like never before. You have Tamil Nadu without Karunanidhi or Ajay Lalita. How do pollsters assess which way things are going?
Well, they're getting better from the figures that you're reciting. They are getting better. We haven't had a repetition of 2004 where all the exit polls were wrong. So that's one thing. And we have the pollsters here take huge samples, so samples as big as 25,000 sometimes. But I think we also need to remember that over the last few days there have been elections in Australia where both the opinion polls
56.
and the exit polls have got it wrong, badly wrong. And Australia is a much smaller and less complex democracy than India, so that is a caution for all of us. However, I think it's likely that tonight we'll get a sense of trend which will have some element of reliability. I wouldn't go very much for the for the figures, but I think the exit polls will show us the way the compass is pointing. There may not be an exact compass bearing, but I hope they're useful. Otherwise,
they also tend to give the benefit of the doubt to the ruling party. Most exit polls.
I don't know. They actually tend to underestimate the margin of victory of the party that's in the lead.
Okay, it's interesting you mentioned Australia because we were discussing this earlier today, Walter Anderson, and we were thinking Australia doesn't have the kind of complex caste matrix that India has, and yet 56 polls got it absolutely wrong.
Well, let me give you another example of a country which is as complicated in many ways as India, much bigger in terms of, its dynamics and internal dynamics, less than population, is the U.S. And in the U.S., they got it wrong, too. In the 2016 election, almost everybody got it wrong, including in the exit polling, they got it wrong. So one has to be very careful, even with the exit polls we find now, because I think there are prejudices often built into the exit polling.
The popular vote more or less right, didn't they?
Well, more or less, but that is not what counts, as you know. What counts in the U.S. election is not the popular vote, but the electoral vote. Never forget that. And that's what they had wrong. They had the electoral vote wrong, and had it wrong almost up to the end. So we have to be very cautious.
I think the bias of the media played a
partly
role in the US.
Is partly that. And there are two uncertainties, I think, in Indian elections, which makes all of us hesitant in making a decision. One is the state of the alliances. No one is quite sure, how these alliances will work. Let me give you a quick example. UP. Will the two parties who represent two very different social groups who have historically hated each other? Because on the one hand, you have the landless, the Bahujan Samaj Party. On the other hand, you have the small-scale peasant farmer, the Samajwadi. Those two groups are inherently at contradiction. Are they going to work together?
Dr. Anderson, it worked in 1993 when they came together. But before you complete your answer, the reactions have started to pour in. The first reaction has already come, and Rahul Gandhi has just tweeted saying, from electoral bonds and EVMs to manipulating the election schedule, Namo TV, Modi's army, and now the drama in Kedarnath. The Election Commission capitulations before Mr. Modi and his gang is obvious to all Indians. The EC used to be feared and respected. Not anymore.
Is he conceding? Is he conceding the election? What is he talking about?
I'm surprised that he has tweeted even before the exit polls are out. And he's saying, the question is, which I feel is that, has he already conceded, as you said, because to say something like that before, the exit polls are out.
He did it just before, 5 days before the assembly election result last December. He said that the EVMs have been tampered with, and then they won, and then he forgot all about the EVMs.
He's known for unforced errors, but that's not the point. I think they've got sources, in all these survey groups, and they get feedback all the time. But the other thing is that last time in 2014, Chanakya got it bang on. NDA got 336 and they predicted 340. That was as close as you can get. So I think with the multi-sampling methodologies getting more and more sophisticated and the combination of analytics and analysis, I think exit polling is going to get more and more, if not reliable, certainly more and more indicative of the outcome.
Makran, I think the only thing which is working for Prime Minister Modi this time is that there is no grand alliance. If we look at the history of Indian elections, grand alliances have actually worked against the powerful incumbent Prime Ministers. Indira Gandhi. I'll give an example. Like BJP won 2014 with 31.34% votes. In 1977, Indira Gandhi lost with 34.52% votes, and Rajiv Gandhi in 1989 with 39.53% votes. What they had at that point of time was, Palki, a grand alliance, People came together. What is working for Modi right now is that there is no grand alliance in place. It's on paper. The only alliance there is in Uttar Pradesh.
But who is the friend of Narendra Modi? It's Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi decided not to construct the Mahagathbandhan. He wanted Congress to go it alone, except with DMK in the south. He cares more about UP 2022 than about 2019. I think if there is a Gathbandhan, it's Congress and BJP.
Can I finish the answer I was giving?
Yes.
And we had gone through the alliance, which we've talked about here, because the alliance is going to be, or alliances will be critical. There's the second point, the issue of trust. And let me give you a small anecdote. I met one of the waiters at the hotel today. He comes from a farm. He said there's a lot of farm distress, a lot of people his age are out of work. I said, have you voted? He said, yes, I can vote, and I have. I said, who did you vote for? He said, Modi. I said, why did you vote for Modi? He says, trust. And the issue of trust is going to be very important because there's a lot of unresolved issues. Do people still trust Modi to work out, the problems that the country faces, and the fact that many of the promises of 2014 have not been kept?
They may trust Modi, but I'm not sure about his team because 99 sitting MPs have not been given a ticket. So I think the government also realized that some of the people they put out there did not quite work for their constituencies.
As opposed to lack of trust or scepticism in the alternative.
Well, that's right. And that's always the case. You always think of an alternative, when you decide something. Is there anything better? And they may have decided there's nothing better.
Jasper, you understand brands and markets and messaging. When after the polling is done, someone like Rahul Gandhi goes out and talks about the Election Commission and how it has capitulated, what is the message he's trying to send out? Is he preparing ground for a defeat?
I think it's you'd file it under getting his excuses out early. I'm not sure it's really redolent of great leadership. If it was Donald Trump at 3 in the morning, you perhaps forgive him, but it's it's cocktail hour at the moment, so there's no real excuses. Look, he's got on the brand thing. I don't know that helps. I think I take a fairly phlegmatic view that says that he has improved measurably from the position of a year ago. I don't know in his heart, or actually no one in the Congress Party will say this, that they believe they're going to win this election. And I suspect it's more about the tactics of the next one.
What do you make of the tweet?
It is a remarkably sour tweet, just minutes after polling ends. He's obviously been saving this up for some time. I imagine he probably drafted it earlier in the day and pressed the button as soon as polling ended. But to blame the Election Commission so thoroughly for all these misdemeanours, alleged misdemeanours, he is very clearly preparing an alibi, and not simply that he's lost, but I suspect that he's lost quite badly.
I think it's a collective decision because we have P. Chidambaram as well tweeting 7 minutes ago saying our charge had been that the EC was sleeping on the job. Now we can go further and say that the EC completely surrendered its independence and authority. Shame, he says.
Well, who started it? Session was so powerful, people were scared of putting up posters which went against the Model Code of Conduct. It's the Congress which diluted it and brought in 3 people so that the EC, actually was defanged. So I think this is not convincing, but I want to go back to the point that Walter made about trust. I think it's much more than that. What Modi has done is he's unlocked aspirational India. He's made common people feel that India can be a great country once again. And look at the way, he was walking in Kedarnath. It's the walk of an emperor. Look at his cape.
That is unfortunate. You cannot be an emperor in a democracy.
Emperor in a manner of speaking. I mean, the regality of his walk, the lion-line stride. See, this matters to the people. And, going back to the theatrics of it, he started by touching his mother's feet. So there's humility and there is grandeur. And it's imaging, it's theatrics, obviously, but it works.
Let me be the devil's advocate here. And coming to you, Arun, BJP swept to power with 31.43% of votes. It's not a wave election, it's admitted. Now, in that case, do you still feel that, the Narendra Modi has that edge in which he can either restore what he has or even increase his numbers? Because it's not a wave anymore. It's an accepted fact of the election that there was no wave. There were multiple mini waves all across the country.
Undercurrent can become a wave, as in Bengal.
Karthik, I think what Dr. Pranjpe is saying, I think, the issue is that whether this election is about arithmetic or whether this election is about chemistry. So if it is going to be about chemistry, then BJP is sweeping. And when you have a charismatic leader like Narendra Modi, who is leading from the front, and there is no one there to oppose him, and the public, as a part of what Mr. Gauthier was saying, a section of people are upset with him, but they're not angry. I think probably it might take another term for them to get angry. So I think he is, and another
it's
one
like
more
Gujarat,
thing.
the same argument. People are upset but not angry, so ultimately they'll come back.
So they'll come back. And another thing is, I was looking at the tweet, the two phrases which Rahul Gandhi has used, drama in Kedarnath and Modi and his gang. I think this is going to cost him very, very dearly, and it also shows a great disconnect. He might have criticized Modi, but saying drama in Kedarnath, I think doesn't go gel with doesn't gel much.
Yeah, it cannot cost him very much because voting is over now.
No, not in. See, it's like this tweet which he had done, or the statement which he had given, which is always haunts him, that they go to the temple in the daytime and then in the evening they go out and go for eve teasing. It is still haunting.
But Arun, this word gang is being used very,
I don't think
easily. Khan Market gang,
coming
Modi
out from
gang.
When you're talking about the Prime Minister of the country, you cannot say Modi and his gang. No, I think the public discourse needs to be a little more this thing.
Yes.
I want to add something to what Dr. Anderson was saying about the alliances.
Sure.
Most crucial state, I think, is Uttar Pradesh, where if SP and BSP and RLD can get together and deliver, BJP will be a washout. I mean, looking at just the numbers, cold numbers, if they get together and if they transfer the votes to each other, BJP will have no chance. And this is what happened in the by-elections, Gorakhpur and Phulpur, where these two, the parties got together and they won by massive, margins. But then, is that what is happening in this election?
Yeah,
because those are by-elections, and this is a national election, general election.
Yeah.
And I feel that Modi factor is really working even in UP. So even if they lose, I would say the loss would be in the range of about 30 to 40. Not more.
30 to 40 is what the BJP will get,
for the BJP, see, they have 71 right now. They may lose about 30, 35 seats in UP. But they will have to make up that elsewhere. Maybe in West Bengal, Odisha, these are the places they will have to make up. But it is not just a washout in UP.
Sure, Lord Desai, you want to make a point?
No, the 2014 score in UP of 71 was unnaturally high. It should have been about 60. And I think I agree. BJP will get about half the seats and the Gathbandhan will get the half seats. Maybe one or two for Congress. Maybe just one, only Sonia Gandhi. But I think what really would matter is they will have to make up the loss of UP, and as well as some loss in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, elsewhere. And we'll have to see how good West Bengal turns up for the BJP. The crucial thing is West Bengal. Can they get 25 seats?
You think that Bharatiya Janata Party will do better in the eastern coast? Because if you compare it with 2014 elections, West Bengal, Orissa, at that point of time, exactly. Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, then Jai Lalita.
Absolutely.
BJP was nowhere.
They have taken the northeast. Now they're coming down, sort of round the coast eastwards, and this is the trick. In the northeast, without a sort of a solid Hindu orthodoxy, they scored.
But now
And
with the
they will do it
citizenship
in
bill,
Orissa
25 out of 25
absolutely.
may not be so easy in the northeast. But François, you wanted to make a point also, a comment on Rahul Gandhi's tweet.
About the discontent, the contradiction between the Modi wave and the discontent. Now, he was speaking about Swachh Bharat. Now, I feel, because I travel a lot, that Swachh Bharat is a failure in many parts of India. Many parts of it, in Pondicherry, in Bangalore, in parts of Bombay, that the contractors paid by the government to pick up the trash, they go and dump it at night in deserted places. So what Mr. Modi was a remarkable Prime Minister. I think he was the best Prime Minister ever of India. But the problem he faced, and he's not conscious of that, is the bureaucracy. You know, his biggest enemy has been the bureaucracy, especially the middle and the lower bureaucracy, you know, who feel that they're losing power. And so many of his schemes, you know, are floundered on the ground because of the bureaucracy. And I don't think he's aware of that. So I feel, you know, he needs a wake-up call. That's why I'm saying 240 to 250.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that. You know, this government hasn't had the huge corruption scandals of the previous government, but the lower level bureaucracy hasn't changed.
Not at all.
Because, you know, I have a family member who's in business here, and she tells me that the corruption is just as high now as it was before. So the effort to sort of clean up the government has only gone down so far. Now, that can be dangerous, because this affects lots of people when they have to pay extra for X, Y, and Z.
But Dr. Anderson, you know, if we, you know, I think, you know, the exit polls will be out in the next 15, 20 minutes. But if you look at the general nature of data which is available, I'll come to you, sir.
Yeah.
If the exit polls are right, if they're getting the number right, if the party is winning, it ends up with more seats. If the party, on an average, if finds party is losing the seats, they'll end up losing more seats. Yeah. So, you know, the argument may not hold ground that the BJP may reduce by 230, because if you think that the BJP is losing, it might end up losing 120 seats. But if Bharatiya Janata Party is really doing well under Narendra Modi, then it might even surprise us and cross 300 marks. That has been the nature of the exit poll. That's the topography of our exit polls, you know, even if the estimates are not right.
In fact, I tend to agree. I disagree that UP is going to, you know, they lose 30, 40 seats in UP, because that's what it seemed like in the beginning. But as the momentum gathers, and this is the last phase, there are 13 seats up for stake. In the last one, there were about 12. You know, there's a tipping point, and nobody wants to vote the losers into power, you know. And I think that the people in UP, and also these calculations that Mr. Upadhyay is saying, I don't think you're right, sir, because the BJP polled more than the BSP and SP put together.
Just about 1.5%.
1.5%.
Yeah,
and you can't calculate on a total vote transfer. In fact, Congress is going to cut into the vote. So I suspect UP will be a surprise. It won't be 71, it won't be 60, but I won't be surprised it'll be 45 in UP. And these things are going to make a huge difference when the numbers add up. You take 45 in UP and you take 12 or 13 in Bengal, the picture changes. And I think that the momentum of this poll in 7 phases, has been that shaky beginning, you know, a little bit of advantage for Congress to begin with, and then after the midpoint, it's just been BJP all the way. There was Pulwama, there was other stuff, one thing after another, information, not weaponized quite, but used in a decisive and strategic manner. And finally, this election is not about things happening on the ground entirely. It's actually about competence versus ineptness. And you know, you said something very important. In the previous governments, in the previous elections, Congress is often lost because the other side has been so incompetent. They always made fools of themselves. They had grand alliances and then they broke down. But this time the BJP is very competent.
Right.
Unlike before, and very strategically smart.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We have Sudesh Verma from the BJP with us, and we also have the first numbers coming in. Good evening, Mr. Verma. Do stay with us. Let's first go through the numbers. The Republic C voter exit poll has given the NDA the biggest piece of the pie, not surprisingly, 287 seats. The UPA gets 128. It's given the Gathbandhan 40 seats. The others have been given a total of 87. So this is what the first exit poll of the day looks like. 287 for the NDA, not the BJP, remember. The UPA 128, up from the current 60. And the Gathbandhan with 40 seats, the others get 87. This is the first exit poll of the day. Sudesh Verma of the BJP is with us. Times Now, VMR exit poll is also in, giving the NDA a huge margin. The exit poll shows the NDA winning a total of 306 seats. The UPA numbers are up by from the last time, but it's still far behind in terms of the number of seats. This is what the Times Now poll shows. The UPA, Congress Plus, 132 seats. Regional parties expected to secure 104.
So, you know, Palki, if we go by these exit polls, for Bharatiya Janata Party, it is more or less the same. But for Congress Party, the UPA was at 60 because the Congress was at 44. And the 16 was the other alliance partners. So there has been a net gain for the Congress, but it is an incremental gain, which means if we go by this poll, that the gains for the Congress and alliance partner have not been substantial. These are incremental gains.
It's double. I mean, if you look at in pure mathematical terms, it's a 100% gain, but it's not enough to form a government.
Yes.
Sudesh Verma, the first figures are in. I'm sure you like the numbers as you see them, but these are just exit polls. What is your party's calculation? Where do you stand?
No. We are not happy with what the exit polls has given because we feel, based on the assessment of party president Amit Shah, and he is a master of political calculation. He has analyzed every Lok Sabha constituency, and his number is 300 for the BJP, and of course we'll reach 2/3 along with allies. And that is quite possible. Even if I go by your analysis, then slight difference of vote, will make this possible. I was listening to your analyst. I do not agree with that is the situation in Uttar Pradesh. It's not the case. I'll tell you why. Because those who are analyzing Uttar Pradesh they are analyzing basically based on caste equations between the Samajwadi Party and the BSP. But you must know that mathematics may show you that, but there may not be the chemistry that need to translate that mathematics into vote for certain alliance. And you see, when national issues dominate, then caste doesn't count much. This has been proved time and again. And this time, national narrative of nationalism was there, national security was there, poverty was there, elevation was there, and Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas that cut across all barriers of caste and religious divide. We are very confident that we are going to at least retain the numbers we won in Uttar Pradesh.
Sudesh, you stay with us. The question is, Palki, whether chemistry will work, whether the maths will work, or whether physics will work. We'll come to know about this after an hour or so. But we are also joined by former Chief Minister of Delhi, Sheila Dikshit. Madam, thank you for joining us. Do you agree with one of the first few exit polls which predict a handsome victory for NDA? Incremental gains for UPA, 132 for UPA and 304 for NDA?
Well, this is just an analysis, and I don't know what it is based on. So I would rather wait for the results to come out before I give you any opinion of my own. All that I can say is that we have fought well, and the people have given us a lot of, encouragement.
What do you expect Congress to get? 90 seats, madam? 80 seats? Triple digit?
No, I would not count. No. I would not say the number of seats just now. It's far too early. Till we get the analysis and till we get to know the numbers, I at least am unable to say what we will get, what we will not get.
Madam, most analysts we've spoken to, most observers say that the Congress should have gone and fought in alliance with others, and not having an alliance was a mistake. Would you agree now that the election is over? What are your thoughts on that?
No. I would not agree to that at all. We are a very huge party, very large party, and we have contested many elections. Why should we go in for an alliance when we can contest on our own?
Then why is Sonia Gandhi looking out for allies already, even before the result is out? She's talking to people.
No, she's talking to people because that's the done thing. There's nothing wrong in that. And don't come to conclusions when you do not know.
But madam, there is a general impression that Congress ran a negative campaign, that they need to ensure that the Modi is out of power. There is a positive campaign. Congress ran a positive campaign in 2004 that Congress will come back to power. Congress ka haath aam aadmi ke saath. That was the tagline of the Congress party. But this time around, yes,
all political parties contest to win, and that is the bottom line. Now you can't say that we are wrong in that. We've done it, and let's hope and pray that we will do our best and come out with flying colours.
Indeed, we ask this because as we speak to voters, they say that there is no clarity. Are you going with allies? Will you have a post-poll alliance? Who is your prime ministerial candidate? Why is the Congress shy of naming a prime ministerial candidate?
because the Congress is careful about what it decides, and it won't just decide anything just for the sake of you're asking us to decide. We will take our time on it and take a decision, and Sonia Gandhi is a very, very apt leader and a very experienced leader.
But madam, you forgot to mention Rahul Gandhi here.
No, Rahul Gandhi is the president. Please don't forget. You took Sonia Gandhi's name. That's why I took that. But Rahul Gandhi is our president. Please don't forget that.
Okay. You stay with us. Sheila Dikshit ji. Sudesh, we were talking to Sheila Dikshit, former Chief Minister of Delhi, and she says that it was a very well-run campaign. Congress has given a good fight to Bharatiya Janata Party. What is your estimate of where will Congress stand, and what is your own estimate of BJP numbers in Lok Sabha? Sudesh.
You see, if I start reeling out the kind of campaign which we have done, then you'll be surprised the kind of labor which was announced by Amit Shah ji, what the Prime Minister has done, what Amit Shah ji has done, what other leaders have done. At all level of booth management, the campaign has taken place. Such kind of human efforts, actually, it can happen only when you have a huge organization possible. And BJP is the party with 11 crore plus members. It's come to 12 crore now. So now the issue is such a huge membership, a strong organization, a strong leadership to carry it forward. And naturally, our campaign was visible even at the level of booth. Whereas Congress should be telling the people what kind of campaign they run. We have not heard the statistics from them because we are operating in public domain. We are accountable for every money spent to those who contribute to political funding. Now, coming to the issue of numbers, we are very confident that the BJP on its own would touch the 300 figure and with allies will reach the 2/3 majority mark. With our current allies.
You mentioned the campaign, Sudesh Verma. It also helps to be the party in power.
All that I can say...
Just a second, ma'am. The opposition says, and Rahul Gandhi...
All that I can say is that the gentleman is that please remember, I think you're overestimating yourself, and that's all I can say. We as a party never overestimate ourselves and do whatever we possibly can.
Sudesh Verma, the question I wanted to ask you is that the Congress is still saying that the Election Commission capitulated, that as the party in power, you used institutions and you used instruments to have the campaign go your way.
Where did we use what did we use? Come out with the facts. No, I'm sorry. You can't blame us for something we've never done. This party, the Congress party has been in power in India for years on end, for decades on end. And you're trying to blame us for things.
Absolutely not.
Can I answer, madam?
This is for
no, I'm sorry.
This is for the BJP guest on the panel, ma'am, Ms. Dikshit. This is for Sudesh Verma of the BJP. This question was for him.
Can I answer? Can I answer?
Yes.
Can I answer?
Yes.
You see, we have seen that if decisions do not come in favor of the Congress or Congress allies, then the Congress also brings impeachment motion against the Chief Justice of India. So if Election Commission delivers them 3 states through free and fair polls, we don't complain. But they also don't complain. They win Punjab, they're very happy. But if they lose, they try to blame the Election Commission. If certain problem is there in the Election Commission, it is for the Election Commission to resolve. BJP has nothing to do with this. Sure. It is a constitutional body. I'm sure that with defeats coming in the face of the Congress is going to blame the EBM. Their last alibi will be the EBM. Take it from me. With such kind of majority, we are going to win. They would never accept that people have rejected their campaign.
Thank you, Sudesh. Thank you for joining us. And last, parting comments from you, madam. Parting comments from you. Are you hopeful that the Congress will form the government, or is Congress...
You're saying yourself. Nobody else is saying that you're going to win.
Are you hopeful? I'm saying, are you hopeful? I think there's a bit of a connection problem, Palki. But I think the bottom line in this election has been the bottom line in this election has been that the campaign which the Congress ran continuously was that they want Modi out of the system. But the campaign was not about creating an alternative. And I think this is not a replica. A lot of people would say, well, what happened in 1977 when there was no alternative? You had so many stalwart leaders. But 1977 happened post-emergency. So there's a historical difference. 2004, you had a 69 set of MPs from left front. Today, Congress party is not in power in United Andhra. So there are different set of equations in play this time, Palki. It's not like 2004, it's not like 1996, but yes, regional parties have been aspiring past 6 months to have that little stake in centre which they have been missing.
Right. For the viewers who've just joined us, the first two exit poll numbers that have come in, Times Now VMR gives the BJP plus, that is NDA, 306 seats. The UPA is given 132, others have 104. The Republic C voter exit poll gives the NDA 287 seats, the UPA 128, Gadbandhan 40 seats, and the others 87. Your first thoughts?
Well, there's more to come, and these are exit polls with all the caution, but these two exit polls both point broadly in the same direction, which makes you wonder that they may be onto something. It's very encouraging for Narendra Modi and the BJP. It is utterly disastrous for Congress. If you look at those figures, 130 or so, and you assume that 40 of those have come from the Samajwadi BSP alliance in Uttar Pradesh, a fair number probably have come from the DMK
Samajwadi
in Tamil
Party
Nadu.
and BSP is not part of UPA. So those numbers, Andrew, will go in the others.
I beg your pardon.
Yes.
But I beg your pardon, the DMK in Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
So we're talking about Congress making gains, but really nothing substantial, probably still well under 100 on these
I think
figures.
you have made a very pertinent point, because if it is, as Palki read, even if I go by the Times Now, VMR, which is 132, and if DMK is doing good, if parties in, for example, the partners in Bihar are doing good, or JDS has done well in Karnataka, it still means that the Congress has not crossed into triple digit.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. You know, Congress may have improved, will get the position of leader of opposition, but not triple digits.
And these are just exit polls. I want to keep repeating it. These are exit polls, not the final results, but this is what they say. And two of them giving the NDA a clear majority, and the Congress alliance, that is the UPA, 132 according to one and 128 according to other.
Are these exit polls national, or do they break them down by state?
They will do it later, but these are the national polls. This is the final figure. Mr. Upadhyay.
I wanted to make a point about the Congress seats. See, right now they have 44 seats, which basically comes from 9 from Karnataka, 8 from Kerala, 4 from West Bengal, 3 each from Assam and Maharashtra. You know, like this, they have 44 seats. So where are their likely gains? So if you look at the likely gains, I would like to give about 3 in Karnataka, addition to what they have now, about 9, and then about 4 in Kerala, because Rahul Gandhi is also contesting there. From 8 it might become 12, and then Punjab, Amrinder Singh has done well, so from 3 they might go up to 9. That is what I speculate. And Maharashtra, they've got only 2 seats now. They may go up, add another 6 seats. So Madhya Pradesh, where they have their own government, so I'm giving them 8 seats there. Additionally, Bihar, they have just 2 seats. They may get another 5. And then Uttar Pradesh, they have just 2. So I think it might become 4, not more than that. And then Chhattisgarh, where they have a government now, and where they have none now, so they might get 7 seats. So adding all this, they will be getting another 45 seats, over 44. So the total comes to 89. It doesn't even cross 3 figures.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Being very, very liberal, you still can't see Congress crossing 100 mark.
Right.
Absolutely.
We have to take a very short break. We'll come back with more on the numbers, and I think more exit polls and more figures will be out by then.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back.